right, we have a special guest today joining our Lucy Franklin music class. This is the wonderful and talented Damon Gillespie. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Well, I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Um, I was raised here my entire life, and I moved to Chicago for musical theater because that's what I wanted to do. I grew up like playing instruments and singing and dancing and acting, and so I wanted to do that as a career, and that's where I met you. We became really good friends. And then after a couple of years, I got my dream job in New York and I moved to New York where I've been kind of doing that, whether that be on TV, film, theater, whatever it may, whatever that may be.
Awesome. Can you tell us when you were in elementary school, what were some things that you were involved in or interested in, and how did that kind of lead you to where you are today?
Well, my mom put me in everything from taekwondo to baseball to the choir. So I was also like I went through a yearbook literally from elementary school, and I forgot that I took like a couple of ballet classes when I was in like first or second grade. So I've always been like a part of the arts, but I've also been a part of sports. I was just a very active kid, and my mom um, made me do all of it. So I sang in the choir. I was a I did a little bit of ballet, and then I did like competition dancing. I would do talent shows all the time, but I also like played on the football team and played rec league basketball and baseball, and was three-time district district champion wrestler.
Nice.
So
Nice. So we have some student questions.
okay,
This one is from Annie and Lucy. They are twins and they're both in love with musical theater. So they ask, what is your favorite musical where you have not been a part of the cast?
ooh, that's a good one. What are their names again?
Annie and Lucy.
That's what I thought. Annie and Lucy. Well, thank you for your question, Annie and Lucy. Um, One of my favorite musicals that I haven't been a part of is they're both adult musicals, so I'll say the other one, which is uh, like Wicked is one of them. I'm trying to think. I know Dear Evan Hansen is is definitely not, maybe not a dream role. Oh, any role in Hamilton, that's a given. But definitely like Wicked and Hamilton, and then for the older ones like Next to Normal and Avenue Q, which you are not allowed to listen to yet.
Have you had substantial dance lessons? Because this person is thinking of Newsies.
Okay.
They know all the very demanding dance numbers in Newsies. So, what is your dance training background like?
I started dancing when I was 3, and now I'm 26. So I've been dancing for 23 years now, um, which is really weird to say, but it's true. Um, I started in jazz and then just went straight to hip hop and realized that if I just did hip hop, I would have a harder time getting work. So I started doing ballet and more jazz and took up tap and started, again, I was an active kid, so I was flipping a lot. Um, one of my teachers in college said that I needed to fill my bag of tricks, and I took that to heart. So I learned everything that I could: instruments, flipping, dancing, um, juggling, everything. Um, so my dance training and I'm still training to this day. I still take class. So my dance training is extensive. It's very extensive.
So here's a question that, a lot of people are probably thinking of.
Mhm.
How has the quarantine affected Broadway?
Well, it shut it down. Everybody in the entertainment industry um, that isn't a producer is kind of at a standstill right now. Um, I had like 4 different projects that I was supposed to either film or go and perform, and they've all been put on hold. So that's how it has affected everybody, not just on Broadway, but in the entertainment industry in general. It's, I mean, everyone's just kind of like waiting to get back to work.
This is another one from Annie and Lucy.
Okay.
Annie and Lucy ask, how does the audition process work?
So the audition process is usually you have your own material, whether that be a couple of songs or monologues, and or scenes and songs that the casting director, the person who's like looking for the talent, has given you, which are called sides. And you usually get anywhere from 2 days to a week and a half to memorize them and like do work on them. But usually it's about 3 to 4 days, maybe. And it can be up to 20 pages for one character. And so you go in, you hand them your headshot and resume if they don't already have it, and then you perform with in front of like 2 or 3 people in a room. There's a pianist, usually for musical theater, and then there's a reader, and usually casting director and the writer, or casting director and the director, or whoever it may be, depending on where you are in the stages. And sometimes you can be auditioning for a role for before you get it for like 2, 3 months. Sometimes you can audition that day, and they'll let you know that night, hey, we need you to be here tomorrow for rehearsals to start, for a replacement on Broadway. So it depends on what it is, but normally the audition process is you have material, you go in, you do the material for them, and then they'll let you know if they want to see more or if you got it.
That's cool. I'm learning things too for this that I did not know. Um, how does the audition process differ for males and females, if at all?
It honestly depends on the role. Um, that's the biggest thing I can say. I will say for women, the audition process may be tougher because you have there's more women in musical theater than there are men. There's vastly more amounts, so the competition is tougher. Um, but the process itself is the same. You just need to be there. You just need to be prepared. You need to be on time, and you need to be present.
Just like we are in class.
That's right. You practice how you perform in class, in the audition room, in rehearsals, in life. You practice how you perform.
And that's so funny you say that, because what do I say? Every time we're in the gym and we're practicing for our PTA performances, I always tell them practice how you perform. So it doesn't matter if we're doing a PTA performance, in the Lucy Franklin gym, or if you're preparing for Broadway, practice how you perform.
Absolutely.
In your opinion, is there a production that is the most difficult? And if there is, why would you consider it difficult?
The hardest show that I've probably done was probably Aladdin. That was
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, Newsies. I find like with Newsies, I got the flow of it, and I knew how to manipulate and maneuver. It was just new to me, so there were different rules that I wasn't really aware of. But with Aladdin, I thought it was going to be easier than it was, and it turned out to be incredibly hard because on top of all the stuff that I was doing for Newsies, I had to do it in Aladdin with like pants that were 4 inches outside of my leg width. So, and I was also like wearing headpieces and costume changes, and I had to learn to fight with a sword, and it was a lot. It was a lot.
And just because I know some people must be wondering, did you play Aladdin?
Uh, I did, not on Broadway. I've played Aladdin twice in two very different productions.
Gotcha. I was wondering if you could tell us, a crazy story you have from either working with TV or Broadway, or just something really cool that you got to do that you're like, wow, this is so cool. I can't believe it.
Okay, I'll tell you a story of during Newsies, because that one's the one that comes to mind first and the quickest. It was it's possibly the funniest thing I've ever witnessed in my career, because it showed me how human even Broadway performers are, and people that you've looked up to for so long are still just as human as you are. We were on stage for Carrying the Banner, which Carrying the Banner is like almost a 10-minute number, just through lines and scene changes and singing and dancing and stuff. And there's a part in the song where the nuns come out, and they're they're singing to us, and they're like giving us food and like supplying, doing their duty as ladies of the church, and like giving to the poor kids. And the line is supposed to go, it's this Irish lady, and she goes, "Elmer, when are we going to see you inside the church?" And one of the guys, Evan, who plays Elmer, was supposed to say, "I don't know, sister, but it's bound to rain sooner or later." And he just didn't remember. Now, he's been in this show for 2 years, okay? He's been in the show for 2 years. I've been in it for a month. And sometimes you just have a brain fart. It just happens. And instead of saying that line, he looks up, doesn't say a word, and goes, "That's a good question." And everybody on stage busted out laughing, including Corey Cott, who played Jack. But he laughed the loudest, and we thought it was one of the girls, because he literally heard the line and went, and his mic was still on. So not only did we hear it and we start laughing, the audience heard it, and they started laughing. So, and then we just went on with the show. So that is possibly one of the funniest things I've really experienced, because when I'm on stage, I'm still in shock and awe, because I'm on Broadway and I'm like, these people are like professionals and they're doing their thing, but they're still just as human, and they're still just as goofy, and they still make mistakes just like all of us.
That's an awesome story. I'm sure that'd be hilarious.
It
The
was
show
hilarious.
must go on.
Exactly.
So one final question to kind of wrap things up.
Okay.
Chance wants to interview you too, apparently.
Fair enough.
If you had anything to say to our students, we're kindergarten through 5th grade. We have a lot of young men. We have a lot of girls that love to dance, love to sing. We got a lot of awesome musical people in our school. So what would you like to say to them?
2 things. One, because when I was that age, I had a lot of people in my ear telling me the wrong thing. One, wearing tights is not girly. I will say that, because if you're going to tell me that wearing tights are girly, how do you explain Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Tom Brady, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, David Beckham? I can go on. Everybody wears tights to be warm, to stay warm. So if you're worried about taking ballet because you have to wear tights, everybody wears them. I wear tights. I wear tights, and not even to take ballet. There's nothing wrong with it. There's also nothing wrong with taking ballet. It's a it's a dance about strength and grace, and it's very hard. If you come out of a ballet class and you're not drenched in sweat, you didn't do it right. That's the one thing I'll say, because I know a lot of boys have that fear, and they also hear that a lot, and that's why they run away from things like ballet. The other thing that I will say, number two, is that if you find something that you truly, truly love, it doesn't have to be in the arts, it doesn't have to be in sports, it can be in computers, it can be in video games, it can be in drawing. Find something that you love, and I don't mean something that you think is smart, something that you love, and make a career, and focus on it and make a career out of it. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, because now we are at a point in our lives where people are making the most money in the world by playing video games. Anything is possible at this point. So find what you love and hold on to it, and do not let go, no matter what anybody tells you.
That is awesome advice. Thank you so much, Damon.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, take care. Stay healthy. Wash your hands.
Of course.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Alrighty, bye.